They've stood at the front lines of law, leadership, and public service. From the courtroom to the classroom, Attorney Karen Jimeno brings sharp legal insight, academic excellence, and a voice that has guided national conversations. Attorney Mike Toledo, a seasoned public affairs strategist and legal mind with years in media, corporate leadership, and government reform. Together, they bring law to life with experience, integrity, and the courage to ask hard questions. Two minds shaped by the law. Two voices trusted in and out of the courtroom. This is ABOGADO.
Good evening and welcome to ABOGADO, where legal issues meet national dialogue. I am Attorney Mike Toledo.
And I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno. Tonight we tackle a complex issue at the intersection of civil service, democracy, and constitutional rights.
Government employees serve the people, but should they also be free to engage in partisan politics during election season?
Our topic tonight invites us to rethink political neutrality, freedom of expression, and the integrity of public service. Here's our proposition.
In a vibrant democracy, every citizen has a voice, even those who serve the public every day. But when government employees speak out, are they exercising a right or crossing a line? Can a public servant remain impartial while showing political support? Does free expression strengthen democracy or shake its foundations? Some say silencing government workers is unfair. Others believe public trust depends on strict neutrality. Tonight, we explore a critical question at the heart of democracy. Should government employees be allowed to engage in partisan political activities during election periods?
Joining us to support the proposition is Attorney Leandro Tulod, a legal analyst, educator, and writer whose work centers on law, governance, and democratic participation. As an adjunct assistant professor at Far Eastern University and a legal analyst for a major multinational company, Attorney Tulod brings both academic insight and practical experience. His published commentaries on legal and political issues reflect a strong advocacy for freedom of expression and citizen engagement, principles that underpin his argument that government employees too should have the right to engage in partisan political activities.
Now, advocating against the proposition is Attorney Tonicito C. O'Malley. He was former Undersecretary of the Department of Education and former Deputy Director General at TESDA. Yusek O'Malley is a seasoned lawyer, licensed in both the Philippines and in the U.S. federal courts, with over 2 decades of experience in civil service, public administration, and election law. A distinguished academic and lecturer, he teaches administrative and local government law at leading law schools and is currently the president of Meridian International College for Business and Arts. As former president of the National Union of Career Executive Officers, he has long advocated for the political neutrality of the civil service.
Here's how tonight's discussion will proceed.
We begin with opening statements. Each side is given 2 minutes to lay down the foundation of their arguments. The affirmative goes first, followed by the negative. The debate then unfolds through 2 key subtopics. For each one, both sides will deliver a 2-minute constructive speech, starting with the affirmative, then the negative. After the speeches, we move into the open exchange, a 6-minute free-flowing discussion where the debaters may ask questions, raise rebuttals, and respond to each other directly. Once both subtopics have been explored, we proceed to the closing statements. Each debater has 2 minutes to summarize their position and leave you, the audience, with a compelling final message. And finally, to bring the conversation full circle, our hosts will pose their own questions in a 6-minute moderated segment. This final round allows for a clarification, deeper insight, and ensures that no critical point is left unanswered.
Gentlemen, we begin with your opening statements. The question: Should government employees be allowed to engage in partisan political activities during election periods? Attorney Tulod, you have 2 minutes.
I believe that we should allow the government officials or government officers to engage or to participate in the certain political activities. No, freedom of speech is considered to be one of the most important fundamental rights under the Constitution. It is in the exalted position, no, and in the hierarchy of fundamental rights. Restricting government employees, no, from participating in the elections or partisan political activities it runs contrary, or it violates the very essence why we hold elections, which is to hear our voice and to freely choose those who align with our ideals and aspirations for a better Philippines. While the state is mandated by no less than the Constitution that the civil servants should not participate in the partisan political elections, these restrictions must be outlined, it must be defined, and it must not spill over the bounds of that protect the fundamental rights of the Filipino people. The Constitution does not exclude the names of the civil servants from exercising the right to exercise their freedom of expression. Government employees or those working in the civil service, like all citizens, should not be deprived of the right to engage in political discourse, attend rallies, donate to political campaigns, or openly support candidates or political parties. Because at the end of the day, the ultimate decision is not for the government or the state or the politicians or ours to make, but the voters,
yes,
the bearer of this right.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Oh,
so you finish your time, the 2 minutes. And now we'll have Yusek Umali for your opening statement. 2 minutes.
So the proposition is government officials or employees should be allowed to engage in partisan activities during election period. My personal position, Attorney Mike and Attorney Karen, is that the present law as is definitely okay, and it recognizes the rights mentioned by by Attorney Pañero, protecting the right of every citizen, whether you are a public official or a private individual, to express your views, because the present law clearly states that the prohibition only applies actually during campaign period. So that's the 90-day period for national election and 45 days for local elections. Outside that period, if you engage in partisan political activity, that per se is not a prohibited act, and clearly the laws define what are prohibited, what are considered partisan during campaign period, and therefore there should be enough leeway, because even the present law allows under the administrative code for public officials to express their political inclination, which name that they would like to vote for. It's okay. It's okay, so long as not done in a manner where they would like to solicit votes in favor of a candidate or promote the candidacy of anybody. Let's always remember, ma'am, sirs, that public office is a public trust. So it's not only about our rights, because we all know our freedom of expression, definitely all rights enshrined under Article 3.
Okay.
The Bill of Rights
Yusek Umali, I'm sorry, but you're also out of time. But
Okay.
Thank you so much for your opening statements, gentlemen. na-realize ko lang, partner, ako naman yung surrounded by an all-male
Yeah, you're right.
table.
Yeah.
But
But you know, just very quickly, partner, when he said public office, the public trust, it reminded me of our law school days, di ba?
yes, very
when we
basic
were
yan sa
very
public,
basic, very basic.
public
I still remember my
service
professor.
law.
In fact.
Yes, and we'll have an opportunity to allow both Attorney Tulod and Yusek Umali to explain your positions more. Let's move on to our first subtopic. So we begin with the principle of political neutrality. Should this standard extend to what public servants post or share on their social media accounts?
And how might the online activities of government employees shape public trust in their office or institution? And in what ways can digital behavior unintentionally signal political bias? Attorney Tulod, your perspective, please.
Okay. We have this old saying, neutrality helps the oppressor, and silence helps the tormentor, but never the tormented. So in this particular right that we are currently enjoying, the freedom of expression, should also be given to the civil servants, because as what I mentioned earlier, they are not excluded from the coverage of the fundamental rights under the Constitution. Now, everything is political. No, even Aristotle said that man is a political animal. So we cannot really, we cannot disregard the political ideologies, political ideas of every Filipino citizen, whatever time it is, or we should exercise those rights that are granted by the Constitution. So the politics does not really choose a particular time. No, freedom of expression does not choose a particular time for us to practice or to exercise. So my take on this is that neutrality by the civil servants or government employees should not mean prohibiting or restricting them from exercising the most basic rights that they have under the Constitution. And all citizens have that right, and we should not disregard the employees of the government.
Thank you so much, Attorney Tulod. So your position is dapat not just during elections, kahit elections, meron dapat freedom of expression in your social media accounts as well.
Yes, because
we'll give Yusek Umali a chance to
But
now
Yusek
rebut
Umali?
that.
Yes, but the problem there now is there's a categorical provision under Article 9 of the Constitution, that portion which discusses the mandate of the Civil Service Commission under Section 2, I believe, that categorically prohibits public officials, employees, from engaging in any partisan political activity. That's categorically stated there. That's point number one. Point number two, there's even an equivalent provision for that, prohibiting members of the armed forces of the Philippines, Philippine National Police, from engaging in such kind of activities. And these are all operationalized by provisions in the Administrative Code of the Philippines. So it was enacted in 1987. But though we're talking about the 1987 Constitution, even before the 1987 Constitution, the same prohibition was stated in the Omnibus Election Code. Papasok po kasi yon dun sa konsepto nga po ng public office is a public trust. If we look at what this constitutional provision or mandate means, it's all about us appreciating na ang mga nagsisilbi po sa gobyerno, sa totoo po lamang, ay hindi po yun karapatan nila na magsilbi doon. Sila po'y nandoon lamang dahil doon po sa pagtitiwalang ibinigay sa kanila ng taong bayan, at oras na mawala po ang tiwalang ito, pwede po itong bawiin. And therefore, in the same manner that we always say that the right enshrined under the Bill of Rights are definitely not absolute. You now have a constitutional provision saying that employees, public employees cannot engage in partisan politics. So if we will now engage in statutory construction, we have to interpret it in such a way that everything should be given into effect. Then the general rule is that we have the right, but it is qualified by some other provisions, like we cannot be able to do what we want to do in social media, especially during campaign period.
Thank you so much, Yusik Omali. Your time is up. And now we open the floor for questions, clarifications, responses. And we have, again, 6 minutes of a free exchange of ideas. So who wants to ask the question first?
I would like to ask.
Please.
Yes, and you can use Taglish because I think this is such an important issue.
Yes, thank you.
Na
You can
dapat
do
maintindihan
Taglish.
talaga ng mga voters natin, no? Yeah.
Merong may nakalagay sa memorandum with respect to USEC, may professor sa sa PUP, no. There is this provision, I mean the memorandum circular number 3 series of 2025, no, of the COMELEC, nakalagay doon na this particular provision, it's very vague for me, no. Nakalagay doon if I'm not mistaken, social media functions like commenting, liking, all right, sharing of political posts, as well as the following of the candidate, may be considered as a partisan political activity. So, my question to Yusek is that how can we define or how can we ensure that it does not infringe the constitutional protections?
Yeah, especially if it is stated in the. Can I
Please.
Yes,
comment?
of
Thank you,
course.
Attorney.
Yeah.
So especially if it is also stated in the Admin Code of 1987 that nothing in this provision on prohibiting public officials and employees from engaging in political activities, that nothing should be construed here, that the public official or employee cannot express their view or opinion on some political issues, and not to express the name of their candidate that they will prefer, especially with that provision. That's why if we look at the Civil Service Commission issuance in 2025, which basically reiterates what was declared or issued by then Chair Civil Service Commission Alice Bala in 2016, it says there, public officials and public employees should be prudent when they do like or post in social media. So hindi talaga pinagbabawal, attorney, pero we just have to be prudent. I think the way to interpret that is maybe isang like or what, mag-comment ng isa, dalawa, pero kung magko-comment araw-araw and clearly designed to solicit votes and clearly to favor a particular candidate, then that may be a violation of the laws that we're discussing right now.
I forgot, can I?
Yes, of course. This is already an open
All right.
discussion.
Yeah.
And
I
I also
forgot-
have a question.
Yes,
Go
I
ahead.
forgot, Yusek, the last sentence of that particular provision. It says there that as long as if it is intended to solicit support and
Correct.
votes,
Correct.
that's the only time that it will become it may be
Correct,
considered as a
Correct.
partisan political
Yeah.
activity.
Actually, attorney, in all the prohibited activities, especially if you look at the 2016 issuance of Chair Bala of Civil Service Commission, and of course, all the commissioners, I'm just mentioning the chair there, it even says there separately, pinaiksi na lang ngayon ng civil service the same prohibited acts that were enumerated. So you talk about conducting meetings, attending conferences. They talk about what do you call this? Engaging in any activity, so long as it is designed to solicit votes or promote the candidacy of one person or try to besmirch another, then you have committed the prohibited act. But if you do that in the context of nominating, just enhancing, as stated in Señeres versus Comelec, attorney, di ba? Sabi ng sa Señeres versus Comelec, si Ginoong Robles po doon, Pangulo ng Buhay Party List. Siya yung at siya po ay incumbent official. Siya po ay parang chair ng isang ahensya. Siya ang pumirma, siya ang Pangulo ng Buhay, siya ang pumirma ng nomination ng kanyang kandidato. Sabi ng Supreme Court, it is not designed to solicit votes, it's only to enhance or endorse nomination. So the bottom line there is, even the laws presently that we're talking about to be against or trying to limit the rights of our public officials and employees recognizes, basta wag lang talaga during campaign period. I have a question for attorney.
Yes.
Attorney, pag ginamit yung sasakyan ng gobyerno, ng public official para dalhin yung mga kandidato, kasi sabi natin karapatan nila ito dapat sumuporta sa kandidato. Halimbawa, parang yun ba yung gusto natin na tanggalin na yung prohibition?
No po, Yusek, no. What we're trying to emphasize here is that as long as it does not impair the merits of their jobs, it does not what do you call this?
Impinge or
infringe, or it
sorry.
does not affect their jobs. No, as public officials, they can campaign for their candidate because
attorney, pero di ba wala namang kaibahan yun? Kung ginagamit mo, hindi physical na gamit ng opisina mo, pero yung titulo mo bilang ikaw ang administrator ng isang ahensya, and we don't mean any disrespect. Pag sinabi mo ngayon, ito'y boto nyo, yung moral ascendancy mo, di ba wala rin kaiba yan? At talaga namang napaka-unfair ng ganung usapin. And to emphasize, why this, as it is very... Can you imagine our DepEd teachers who will serve as members of the former Board of Election Inspectors, now I think they are now called Board of Election Tellers, who is openly campaigning for a mayor. At pagdating mo ngayon nakita mo ngayon yung head ng BET, siya yung campaign person ng kabilang kandidato. Can you imagine that? How can you even promote fairness? The school division superintendent serves as the chairman of the board of canvassers.
Yeah. Well, actually, right now, unfortunately, we're out of time for that open discussion. But I think what we're talking about now nicely spills over to the next subtopic. Because our next subtopic is examining the delicate balance between rights and responsibilities of public servants in the digital age. So to what extent should public servants be free to express political views online during election season? So at least, Yusek Umali, may parameters na tayo ngayon.
So we can actually discuss that in more in detail in this subtopic. So can government employees actually realistically separate their personal opinions from their public law? And what kind of digital guidelines or boundaries would be fair and practical? Again, Attorney Tulod, your thoughts on this?
My thoughts on that, no. There is this case decided by the Supreme Court. If you are familiar with this case, the Dicini versus Secretary of Justice. I'm sure Yusek is aware of this. There is the Supreme Court ruled that the mere liking or sharing, posting of a social media post is not bad per se, as long as the original author or the person who will share or comment on that does not add any context or comment that will that will support a particular that post. So for me, as a public official, you cannot really separate your personal opinion from your position, because especially today the social media, it is very prevalent. The mere like no, the mere comment, the mere share of the post, of a political post, can be, can be interpreted as something, as a, for example, political bias. So you cannot really separate that, and it would really still depend on you, on how you perform your official functions differently from your personal life.
Okay. Thank you so much, Attorney Tulod. Yusek Omali, your response.
Sa mga nanonood po, kung napanood po nila yung Spider-Man, I think there was a scene there where Toby, Peter Parker said, along with great powers comes greater responsibilities. At ganoon din tayo, pag sinabi mong tayo ay abogado, tayong mga abogado, we're not even talking about attorney committing improprieties. We should not only commit improprieties, we should avoid appearances of improprieties. Ganoon din po pag public official. Marami pong batas na nagtatakda. So it's all about professionalism. It's all about, it's categorically stated in RA 6713, Code of Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees. And doon may isang provision doon, political neutrality. Can you imagine, if you are now tainted, sorry for that word tainted, if you were not really tainted, nagkampanya ka ng kampanya para sa isang kandidato, dahil nga, and you have this ability and freedom to express freely, unlimited. You will now criticize those candidates that you think are not fit to hold public office. Pagkatapos noon, nanalo yung pinupulaan mo. Whether you like it or not, you talk about professionalism. How can even, you're handling the position of schools division superintendent. You sit as the co-chairperson of the local school board with the mayor. Kayo dalawa, you should be partners. Pag upo mo pa lang doon, paano ka naman pagtitiwalaan? To doon pa lang, regardless whether that is founded or not founded, whether there is, the superintendent can really still, separate. My God, I don't think that will even happen. So, yung konsepto ngayon ng mas episyenteng pamamaraan para mapatakbo ang gobyerno, wala na lahat yan. Dahil nga sa perception na kung yung nakaupo ay naging bias nung nakaraang eleksyon, pabor man o hindi pabor, dun sa nanalong kandidato. Paano kung pabor?
Thank you so much, Yusek Omali. The floor is now open again for another 6 minutes of dynamic exchange. So, who wants to go first this time? Okay.
May tanong ka ba yan?
Una muna ang professor mo.
Attorney Tulod, alam mo kung if I adopt that position, I could also say many things, attorney. Pero balikan ko na lang dun yung sa sinabi ko na paano nga kung yung konsepto na sabi mo nga, hindi ka pabor na gamitin yung physical na mga kagamitan ng gobyerno. Paano kung gagamitin mo nga yung posisyon? Kasi pareho lang naman ng ano yan eh. Yung sinabi mo kaya ayaw mong gamitin yun para makakuha ng boto. Physical eh. Hindi ba parang we're trying to do some nuancing there that, in effect, yung the evil that you want to avoid will not really be avoided if you also talk as a public official and try to influence all your subordinates?
That's why we have to draw the line, which is an acceptable act, for a politician or for a government official to use the resources of the government, as an acceptable act of the as an electioneering, acceptable electioneering. But as what I mentioned earlier, it's up for the Congress to to use their wisdom and to outline the things that they have to outline, in order to really make sure that the government officials are not using their position in order to using their position or abuse their position in order to to favor or support the candidate.
Yeah. Well, I have a question in terms of just putting this conversation in context. When it comes to legality, what is prohibited by the Constitution? How do we even define partisan political activity? So yung sinasabi kanina ni Attorney Tulod na freedom of expression is everyone's right. Sometimes you have civil servant employees that really don't have a lot of subordinates under them. Baka sila pa nga yung pinaka-subordinate. But if they want to post on their social media, is that covered under the term partisan political activity?
I would say yes, Attorney Karen, dahil ang tinitingnan natin dito yung pag nakapwesto ka nga kasi sa gobyerno, yung konsepto na kaya tayo nandoon dahil lamang sa hindi karapatan natin maupo doon dahil sa pribilehiyong binigay sa atin ng taong bayan. Paano naman yung taong bayan na hindi pabor sa pwesto mo, whether you're just an employee or an official with subordinates, still, you're there because of us. That's the concept of governance in the Philippines. When that's how they discuss it in the 1986 Constitutional Commission, when they put it there, public office is a public trust. In Berna's constitutional law book, that's how he discussed what the Constitution or the framers of the Constitution meant. Kaya kayo nandiyan dyan dahil sa taong bayan. Now, if you will use your position, whether you have subordinates or not, pwede naming tanggalin yan at pwede naming i-regulate.
So Yusek Amali, ang parang sinasabi mo, and I would like to direct this question to you, Attorney Tulod. Kasi, di ba, alam naman po natin, di ba, partner, na yung karapatan, yung your right, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, while it occupies a high rank in the Bill of Rights, ito naman po ay hindi without any limitations.
Yes.
Like, for example, police power of the state can come in. For example, you cannot shout sa sinihan, fire, di ba? That's the famous case, no? Now, so, ikaw ba'y naniniwala na one of the possible limitasyon sa iyong karapatan na magsitita, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, ay ito nga, na hindi ka pwede talaga mag-exercise ng right na yan during election campaign periods. Anyway, it's limited. Ikaw ba'y naniniwala o talagang para sa'yo dapat hindi? Whether campaign period or not, that's your right as a citizen and as enshrined in the Bill of Rights.
Okay, yung Pilipinas, we are known to, to vote, incompetent in the government. No? That's the hurtful truth. No? So in order for us to change the lack of education of the voters, we have to encourage them. No, in fact, we can use our position in order to persuade them to vote the right persons in the government.
Sinasabi mo to vote intelligently.
Yes, yes, Attorney Mike. No. And aside from that, meron kasing, di ba, the prohibition only applies to, does not apply to the political offices like the president, vice president, elective officials, except the barangay officials. No?
Correct.
So if for example, let's put it this way, no? If for example, yung janitor, he is covered by the prohibition, but the president is not. In fact, the president is very powerful. Is very influential. He can say whatever he wants, and there is a high chance or high possibility that the people will really decide in his favor. So that's the context that I want everybody to understand. It should not, this particular prohibition should not be the reason for the Filipinos to decide which is not really decide which is not in the interest of the Philippines and the Filipino people.
Especially when it comes to freedom of expression. But Attorney Tulod raises a good point, Yusek Umali, na if we're basing this on the statement that public service is a public trust, that applies even more to the president or vice president kasi talagang elected sila. And they do have this ability to really endorse candidates and engage in very much partisan political activity. During election season. So ano po how does the normal Filipino understand this?
Ang tingin ko doon, Attorney, yung rule natin parate na while we talk about that law should be applied equally to all, but we could also make distinction if there, again, based on substantial distinction, germane to the purpose of the law, and applicable to all members of the same class. Definitely, isang class po yung elective position because very nature, partisan yung kanyang pwesto. So, talagang pwede sigurong i-apply yun. Pero dun sa mga professional, members of the civil service, and that's why it's enshrined in the Constitution. It talks about public officials and employees in the civil service. I forgot to mention that. That's how it is articulated in the Constitution. So we're talking about those who are, and in fact, attorney, regardless of whether you are a casual, contractual, or what,
Basta
so long
civil
as
service.
so long as you're not an elected position and yung barangay, sabi ni attorney. So nakita mo doon, maski elected ng barangay, ayaw din isama ang barangay kasi mayroon pinoprotektahan din talaga na ayaw natin talagang magkaroon ng sitwasyon na ang mga tao sa gobyerno ay magiging napaka-politika ang kanilang basihan. Kung kaya't kapag dating ngayon sa pagsisilbi na sa taong bayan, pagkatapos ng election, ay nako, hindi ikaw sumuporta doon sa kandidato ko, baka hindi kita mapagsilbihan, pareho nitong sumuporta ko. Ayaw natin lahat yun. And that's the rationale, among others, behind this provision of laws.
Okay. And so I suppose in this case, hindi lang siya a matter of delicadeza. It's really enshrined in the Constitution.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to
Yeah, yes.
civil service employees
Yes.
and even at the barangay level.
Yes, yes. It's in the Constitution. Yeah, yes.
Okay, very interesting discussion, partner. But for
Definitely.
now, we'll have to pause for a quick break. When we return, closing reflections and final questions. This is Abogado.
Welcome back. You are watching Abogado, and our topic: should government employees be allowed to engage in partisan political activities during election periods? With us are attorney Leandro Tulod and former Deputy USEC Tonesito Omali.
We now move to final reflections. Attorney Tulod, your 2-minute closing statement.
Okay, isa lang naman yung sasabihin ko dito, no, sa programa. Wag nating alisan ng karapatan yung ating mga nagtatrabaho sa gobyerno, noon ang kanilang karapatan para i-educate, para i-share ang kanilang political opinions, political stand on different issues. No? If it means that supporting a candidate that they really want to win, so be it. If that candidate really has all the qualities, good qualities of being a public servant, there's no other person, or there's no one who can say or criticize the government other than those who are in the government, those who are working in the government. So, kahit sa ibang bansa, accepted yung pagbigay ng opinion sa mga kandidato, no, and to encourage other people to vote, no, if you are a member or worker of the government. Like for example sa US, no, Attorney Karen, Attorney Mike, Yusek. Sa US meron silang tinatawag na Hatch Act, no, wherein only the federal employees of the executive branch of the government are covered by the prohibition for the partisan political activities. No, in the Philippines, almost all of our laws are designed or modeled from the American legal system. Maybe we can adapt that, that particular law that, allowing many people in the government or many government workers to express and to allow them to campaign for their candidates, especially if those candidates reflect their political ideologies and stands.
Thank you so much, Attorney Tulod. And now it's your turn, Yusek Omali.
I would like to believe, and it's my firm position, sir, ma'am, that the present laws, rules, and regulations applicable to regulate the conduct of public officials and employees with respect to engaging in electioneering or partisan political activities during campaign period are very well crafted, well thought, Napakaganda po nito dahil maski po yung proposisyon na yung karapatan po dapat ng ating mga public official at employee na ipahayag ang kanilang saloobin sa usapin ng politika, ay hindi naman po ganun katindi ang limitasyon kapag wala pong eleksyon, pag wala pong campaign period. Naroroon po yun. Bagamat nais ko pong idagdag na bagamat may karapatan po sila, you may still be held liable under RA 6713 if you overdo it. So meron pa rin tayong standards na dapat panindigan. Ito lamang panahon ng campaign period ang sinasabi nitong mga batas na ito. At palagay ko po, ito po ay talagang nararapat na limitasyon dahil sa kahit anuman pong karapatan, ito po yung ating dapat maunawaan, mga nanonood po sa atin, lahat po ng ating karapatan ay hindi po walang limitasyon. Rights may have limitations. And limitations to balance the interests of the public, of the individual trying to exercise the rights, ganun po yung pagtingin po niyan. At kapag mapagsisilbihan po ang mas maraming individual, kaysa po dun sa individual na nagsasabing karapatan niya ito, dapat po nating maunawaan na ito po yung isang magandang limitasyon sa ating karapatan. Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat.
Thank you. And well within the time. So good job, gentlemen. And now, Attorney Mike and I will ask a question each for final clarification. So I'll go first.
Please, partner.
So to both attorneys, how will a public official or employee know within what bounds they can post? So I think like we can limit the discussion dun sa posting kasi yun nga yung laganap na ngayon, di ba? Sharing and posting on social media. So if you repost something that talks about a certain candidate, paano mo malalaman kung bawal yun under the provisions of the Constitution and the civil service rules and regulations?
Okay, can I speak?
Yes, of course.
For me, no, there is a qualification actually in circular memorandum circular number 3 series of 2025 no, ng Civil Service Commission. It says there is a qualification. If that sharing, liking, commenting, or posting is intended no, to solicit votes or support no, from the public, then that falls within the prohibition. So, you know, it would still depend really the intention on the
interpretation din, no?
Interpretation.
That's sort of pretty weird. Kasi kung para mong sasabihin na, let's say if it's talking about the achievements of a candidate, tapos shinare mo, or
Electioneering na ba yun?
sasabihin ba,
Partisan political
that
activity
tends
na
to
ba yun?
solicit
Even
votes,
yung
right?
even yung pag-follow lang. Nakalagay doon, follow the candidate. Ikaw you are a government official, then finalo mo isang candidate. It may be taken against you.
Kaya siguro, partner,
ganun ba ang
Attorney
rule
Tulod, again, I think as a follow-up to the question that Attorney Karen posited earlier, siguro ang isang tanong natin may batas tayo no, sa ngayon. Kagaya ng mga ibang batas, for example, batas governing, for example, registration of motor vehicles.
Yeah.
The law sometimes does not catch up with technology.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nahuhuli palagi ang batas sa development sa teknolohiya.
Yeah.
So, kagaya niyan, dati hindi nila malaman kung paano nila i-register ang electric vehicle kasi walang engine number and all that, no? It took a while before the LTO was able to come up with the rules and regulations to govern that. Ganon din kaya dito? Kailangan ba natin bisitahin ng batas at kailangan ba natin baguhin ang mga rules and regulation to put into consideration na may maraming changes na in technology in terms of sharing information, in terms of posting. And pangalawa, related question na rin partner, sub-question to that, ano naman yung paano mo talaga mamamonitor yan?
Yeah.
Paano mo talaga malalaman, na violation yan?
I think in this case, it is up to date to technology because yung pag-follow nga, it's also something that might be considered as partisan political activity. But Yusek Umali, to Attorney Mike's question, paano mo nga mamomonitor? And the standard itself is very tricky.
Kailangan mong palitan ng batas?
Yeah, siguro. Sa standards, I think what the Civil Service Commission issued would be enough guidance. They said in the latter portion, di ba, Attorney Tulod, stating that public officials and employees should be prudent when they like, follow, etc. Ang tingin ko po dito, dahil hindi nila siguro ma-qualify lahat
Paano
ng
yung
posisyon.
prudent? Ano yung
Oo nga
I would like to
mahirap
think-
yun
Oo nga.
maintindihan.
I would like to think, Attorney Mike, Attorney Karen, that if you belong to a government agency that has something to do with the conduct, implementation of the rules of election, then you should be held to a higher standard. For example, our teachers, school division superintendent, principals, Attorney Mike, Attorney Karen, serve as Attorney Tulod as the
Watchers. Yeah.
the poll head of a school. That's a polling precinct. Ikaw and you're like the face of COMELEC there. Ikaw ang magpapatupad lahat ng eleksyon. In the classroom, our teachers shall serve as the chairman of the Board of Election Tellers, formerly BEI, Board of Election Inspectors. Pagdating sa munisipyo, probinsya, lungsod, andyan yung mga schools division superintendent at supervisor. There's no doubt that this, category of government officials should not even like. I'm telling you right now, if you have this, parang nalilito kayo, don't even like. Can you imagine you will like a particular candidate na pagdating mo doon sa probinsya, ikaw ang magka-canvas ng election returns na alam na ito yung iba. Don't even tell them.
So,
Don't
follow-up
even tell them.
question. What about yung pagpapapicture with
For me,
candidates? Kasi pagka, let's say, natsyempohan sa barangay ninyo, nagka-campaign,
Selfie,
nagpa-picture ka, pero hindi mo naman sinabing yun ang favorite candidate mo. Pero lalo na yung mga celebrity candidates, di mahilig mag-post yung mga tao. Would you consider that as partisan political activity?
Ito nga, Attorney Karen, for me, so may kategorya tayo. So, teachers, because andun sila, ang kapulisyahan, ang military. Can you imagine yung military police, di ba, Attorney? Ngayon, I don't mean any disrespect to other government agencies. Yung sinasabi natin siguro, baka yun medyo pwede pa. Kasi mas mababa siguro yung standard. Not in a condescending sense when I say mababa
Pero
ang
mas
standard.
malayo from implementing
yes.
the election,
Yes.
no?
So parang,
Yeah.
parang
Yes.
sinasabi mo,
Si-
above, there should be above suspicion, like Caesar's wife.
Yes.
Mga military, mga teachers. Pero sa ibang mga
Si
posisyon,
Attorney Tulod,
pwede.
I think, wants to say something.
There is this particular also prohibition. No? The mere attendance dun sa political rally can may be constituted, may fall within the
Ito,
prohibition.
if you're a school principal and you will head a particular precinct, I don't think they should attend
Because
political rallies.
attorneys, if you want to hear the platform of the candidates, you will really attend the political rally.
Sad
So,
to say.
kaya nga,
So,
kaya
ang point ni Attorney Tulod, I think,
Kaya
gusto mo marinig yung
oo.
platform to be an informed voter,
Correct.
Yes.
tapos paparusahan ka for
Yes.
attending
So kasi
the
parang
rally.
karapatan ng
Sad to
lahat,
say.
ang sinasabi nga niya, karapatan ng nating lahat na malaman natin kung ano ang, whether ikaw ay teacher or whether ikaw ay government official, private, karapatan natin makinig at malaman kung ano ang plataforma ng mga tumatakbo.
Sad to say.
By not allowing that person, teacher, whatever, to
Pag
attend,
paulit-ulit, may qualification po kasi. Pag paulit-ulit kang umattend doon sa sa political rally. So, but,
pag isang beses pwede.
pag isang beses pwede, no?
Nasa rules pa yan?
Yes.
Okay.
Pero kasi it will be,
Mahirap.
kapag lagi kang nandun sa rally, it will be taken as a sort of an organizing a political.
Or you're trying to
you are part
promote,
of the
promote
organization.
candidacy of one over
Yes.
the other. Pero ang ano diyan, ang safe move ng mga public officials and employees natin, just avoid any appearance of bias and partiality. Just be on the safe side. And anyway, during the campaign period lang naman ito,
Yeah.
yun
Yeah.
naman ang
Limited naman.
hinihiling ng Civil Service Commission.
Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen. So, partner, sa inyong pananaw, anong discussion natin ngayong gabi? What struck you most?
I think for me, as a Filipino and as a voter, it's really this vagueness kung ano yung dapat iwasan at ano yung pwede. Kasi when we talk about partisan political activity, it can be a bit gray, especially if we're looking at social media at paano mag-post yung mga tao. Let's say, yun nga, sharing, reposting, or sharing in chat groups. O iba pa yun, di ba? So technically, may mga sumusubaybay din yun na hindi siya technically social media, but pwede ka bang parusahan. So yun yung,
Yes.
for me, doon pa rin ako hindi clear on.
Hindi clear. Para, to a certain extent, pareho tayo ng pananaw, partner. No? Kasi para naman sa akin, I think the objective of the law is good. No? Tama naman. No? Siguraduhin natin na ang ating mga government officials are impartial dahil ang iniisip ng mga tao, baka pag hindi sila impartial, ang pagbibigay nila ng public service will be biased, no, and prejudice. No? May punto yon. Ngunit ako rin naniniwala na siguro I guess kung tayo ay magiging mature, di ba? Lahat ng mga botante ay mature, mga opisyalis ay mature. So maybe magkaroon ng more leeway na payagan mag-express ng kanilang boto or kanilang posisyon. Huwag lang gamitin, siguro, nasa batas na yata yan, not to use government resources and not to do it perhaps during office hours. After office hours, karapatan mo na yun. Private time na yun di ba? Ngunit, tama ka, sa pananaw ko rin, tama ka, na there are certain government officials, the higher standard must be imposed on them, like the military and the teachers, for example.
And I suppose when in doubt, isipin mo na lang delikadesa, no?
Correct.
Now, ano bang yung perception dito? But finally, just a parting thought. Tama ka rin, Attorney Mike, when you say na siguro lagi dapat rin-review yung regulations to be up to speed with technology. Because something that struck me just right now is that minsan sa social media natin, pwede tayong hindi mag-post doon, but group chats now. You can say, yes, it's private communication, but some group chats, ang daming tao. So, let's say a group chat that has 150 people. Tapos dun ka nag-share ng material that supports a certain candidate or talks about a certain candidate, then I think that would already fall within the ambit of what the law is talking about. So, bitin yung time.
As always.
Yes, we thank you, Attorney Leandro Tulod and Undersecretary Tunicito Umali for a vigorous and enlightening exchange.
Indeed, that's the right description. Vigorous and enlightening. This discussion reminds us that civil service is built on both duty and rights, and finding the right balance is key to a thriving democracy.
And that's the mission of Abogado, to foster dialogue, challenge assumptions, and inspire thoughtful reflection. This is Abogado. Good night.